welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are continuing the Get Fit With Me series yoga edition, and we are continuing on with this challenge. We are at day 28, and we're getting there. We're slowly getting there. This video probably will not be up until the 29th, and then the 29th video will also be on the 29th. We're just going to double it up because after that, then tomorrow, well, the following day will be day 30, the following day after, the 29th, of course. But yeah, so I'm hoping you guys are having a great day. I've been okay, not great, because anyone who's in the Midwest, like the Great Lakes area mainly, child, outside is just not safe. It is so, we're getting what New York got earlier on. So for those who are not aware, those who are like outside of the United States, and not in Canada, Canada has wildfires going on, and it's like the worst it's ever been. Like they never get this much of a wildfire, and it's impacting us here in the States because we're directly below them. And so right now the sky has been pretty horrible to the point where I can't run. So I haven't ran since Tuesday, and yeah, I'm kind of losing it. So yeah, it's time where I am going to make an effort to go to the gym today and run instead. Some of my running groups are crazy enough to still have running events going on right now, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. So we're not doing that. So anyway, rambling on a little bit, but today this is not what we're here for. We're here for the yoga, right? So today's video that we're doing is ability. And I think this is going to be the crescendo of abilities of things we're going to be doing, because what it is we are going to be doing power vinyasa. So hopefully I can get some of my workout in that I normally wouldn't get, that I would normally get from running through this, because when I tell you, I just feel so, because I haven't been able to run, and even the breathing is difficult, and the timing of this, because the thing is, outside of the smoke outside, the weather is not that hot. It's not ridiculously hot here. It's like perfect. It's like perfect weather to have your windows open. And clearly, I'm not gonna have my windows open because I don't want to breathe that. So, and also that's a reason why I'm not running, because I don't want to breathe that. I want to breathe fresh air. So anyway, the air quality has just been garbage. I know I've been rambling about it, but if you know, you know. But without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's at least get to this practice. Let's start today's practice in a comfortable seated position. And once we are in a comfortable seated position for a couple of breaths, we are going to do a gentle twist on each side before we do eventually transition over into a tabletop position. And in that tabletop position, once we get there, we are going to make our way to our first extended child's pose to get the practice started. Before we do transition over to a tabletop position, I almost did forget, we are going to do some stretches where we stretch our quads. Wow, not quads. Wow, triceps. We're going to be doing some tricep stretches where we have like our hands above our head. And then we're also going to be doing some stretching our shoulders too, because we're going to be doing quite a lot of vinyasa, a lot of being in downward facing dog for a little bit. But that's the piece I forgot. From getting ourselves warmed up with basically stretching our wrists in tabletop position, we're going to make our way to our first downward facing dog. We're going to hold it for a couple of breaths, and then from there we're going to make our way to the front of the mat in a standing forward bend, and from there making our way to our first mountain pose. And at this point is where we're going to do sun salutations 1, nice traditional vinyasa. For those who are not familiar, a sun salutations one is going to entail, starting in a mountain pose and then make our way to a standing forward bend, to halfway lift, down to a plank position, to for our first vinyasa. So either we transition to either a cobra from the plank to upward facing dog, whichever one you choose, to our downward facing dog. But that is what a sun salutations is. I just kind of want to explain that, and that's what we're doing here with this sequence. After doing the sun salutation sequence twice, we are then going to where I kind of messed up, and I will also kind of explain a little bit later towards the end of the video, where what we're supposed to do next is we're actually supposed to do a three-legged dog. From the three-legged dog, hold our right knee into our chest, and then move it towards our right elbow and then towards the left elbow, kind of doing like a core workout before we do eventually move it to the front of the mat for a high lunge. And we're going to be doing that on both sides. The second side, I did it way better, but this first side, yeah, it was not quite together. But that is to start the sequence. There is more to the sequence besides that, and we'll go into that as we're further along. So from there, we're making our way to a high lunge, and I think I mentioned that's where we ended up at. But from a high lunge, we then do start leaning a little bit forward with like our torso still being in the high lunge, and then we're going to follow with airplane arms essentially. And then from there, we are going to, and I did not do this well on both sides, have our foot that's in the back meet us to the front of the mat, where we will then transition to a chair pose. And we're going to be doing that on both sides, where we're in that position. And from that chair pose, we are going to do a twist on each side when we do that. And but this is that sequence I was referring to earlier on, where we do this, and then we will from there end up back in eventually in downward facing dog, where we basically do the whole sequence of a vinyasa. After doing the sequence on both sides and ending up in the downward facing dog position, we are going to make our way back into a plank. And from the plank, we're going to lower all the way down where we're going to end up doing, I believe it's called a Lotus Pose, where basically you you lift your head up, but then you also with your hands above your head, and then you also do have the option of lifting your legs up at the same time, using your hips to kind of do that for you. And we're going to be doing that, I believe, 3 times, and the 3rd time we will transition to a bow pose. And from there, we're getting close to winding down the practice, where we will then eventually make our way down to lying down. I believe we also do have one more extended child's pose squeezed in there prior to doing that. As I mentioned, after the extended child's pose, we're going to make our way to lying on our back, where we get put our knees against our chest and give ourselves a nice squeeze. And then from there, we actually are going to get ready for a bridge pose. You can either just stick with a traditional bridge pose, and we're doing the bridge pose twice, or you can also add a little bit more difficulty to it, where you lift your right leg up first along with bridging, and then you lay that down and do the same thing on the opposite side. I did opt to do that because I did want to add a little bit more challenge to the practice. So yeah. lastly, one of the things we're going to do before we finally do settle into a Shavasana, we are going to do a twist on each side with our knees going one way while we're in a T position, and we do that on both sides. So kind of like a supine twist. Well, basically, yes, a supine twist on each side. And then we are going to make our way to Shavasana or Lotus Pose to close the practice for today. Hi, so that does conclude the video for today. How I rate it, I actually would rate it 8.5. I was actually high-key expecting it to be more difficult than what it was. It wasn't too bad. There was one pose I struggled with at the beginning, but once I figured out what we're doing, the other side was way better. I just didn't know that we weren't, because I'm so used to like how we do yoga habitually, where you know, do three-legged dog and then move your foot up to a lunge. I didn't know we were going to be doing some core stuff in between there. So the first time around, I didn't do it right. But the second time I did it better. It wasn't really hard. I just didn't realize that's what we were doing. So yeah, I'm giving it 8.5 because it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. It was actually quite easy. Maybe because I'm just like so overly hyped and need other forms of exercise besides running at this point. That's indoors until outside's not poison anymore. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the video today. Short and sweet. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.